he said that unemployment could skyrocket to 20%. Are we looking at that could rival the Great Depression? Are we looking at potentially historic
I don't agree
devastation?
With that. Yeah. No, I don't agree. That's the absolute total worst case scenario. No, we don't look at that at all.
And thank you. My second question.
We're nowhere near it.
Okay. Why do you keep calling this the Chinese virus? There are reports of dozens of incidents of bias against Chinese Americans in this country. Your own aide, Secretary Azar, says he does not use this term. He says ethnicity does not cause the virus. Why do you keep using this? A lot of people say it's racist.
It's not racist at all. No, not at all. It comes from China. That's why. It comes from China. I want to be accurate.
Yeah,
please, John. Yes. I have great love for all of the people from our country, but as you know, China tried to say at one point, maybe they stopped now, that it was caused by American soldiers. That can't happen. It's not going to happen. Not as long as I'm president. It comes from China. John, please.
Two questions.
Lester, as I mentioned, there are very few manufacturers. The Hamilton Company in Nevada, one of the large producers, tell us they are aiming to double their production of 11,000.
Malaria drug could be a game changer in treating the coronavirus. He says that chloroquine, which is sometimes called hydroxychloroquine, will be made available almost immediately to treat the virus. The FDA says it is looking into a clinical trial to see if the drug works. The agency also considering collecting the blood of recovered patients to try to strengthen sick people. And 54. Now, in a few weeks, you could get a $1,000 check to help cushion the economic fallout from the pandemic. The president says he's pushing Congress to approve a $1 trillion economic package. That includes a first round of checks worth $1,000 per person and $500 per child sent on April 6th. A second round of identical payments would be sent on May 18th.
It's not an ordinary policy, but this is no ordinary time. The American people need help, and they need it fast.
A plea from the epicenter of this crisis to focus.
We are just a test case, and that's how the nation should look at it. Look at us today. Where we are today, you will be in 3 weeks, or 4 weeks, or 5 weeks, or 6 weeks. We are your future.
New York Governor, where cases are doubling about every 3 days.
We're not slowing it, and it is accelerating on its own. One of the forecasters said to me, we were looking at a freight train coming across the country. We're now looking at a bullet train because the numbers are going up that quickly.
Of the 30,000 ventilators Governor Cuomo says his state needs, 400 have arrived in New York City. Today, the vice president said another 4,000 will ship by Wednesday.
This is buying us some time, but we are going to need more.
What am I going to do with 400 ventilators when I need 30,000? You pick the 26,000 people who are going to die because you only sent 400 ventilators.
The need for critical supplies escalating as hospitals and healthcare workers are stretched to the brink.
We're basically being asked to jump off a cliff, without the appropriate protective equipment.
In their own deadlines for rent and mortgage payments. Morgan Stanley is now predicting jobless claims for the past week could top 3.4 million, roughly 5 times the highest number on record. By Wednesday, more than half of all Americans will be under orders to stay home, and more students are learning they won't return to a classroom this school year. Yet the president today saying he wants the country to be open for business by Easter, just over 2 weeks away, renewing questions about whether the health of the economy is more important than the public's health.
Do we let people die, or do we kill all the businesses and jobs? It's a twin battle, and we've got to be fighting them both at the exact same time, and that's exactly what we're trying to do here.
Americans at every level adjusting to the changes in real time with no deadline in sight.
Thanks to Hill for that report. All of
India, more than 1 billion people are now under total lockdown for the next 3 weeks. The order came Tuesday during a televised address by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. CNN producer Vedika Stewart is joining us now from New Delhi. So Vedika, this lockdown, if you do the math, it's been in place for, about 12 hours now? There's, 2 weeks, 6 days, another 12 hours to go. And for a lot of people, this will be a long haul and clearly a drastic measure taken by the government.
And a huge challenge for the Indian government, isn't it, John? Because that is what this essentially is. We're talking about the second most populated country in the world. With the total lockdown that was announced yesterday by the Prime Minister Narendra Modi, believe it or not, 1/3 of the world's population now is going to be under partial or total lockdown, because we ourselves are contributing 1.3 billion people to that number. Now, when the Prime Minister addressed the nation last night, he made it very clear. Your doorstep is your restriction. You must not cross that. He even went on to say, from the Prime Minister himself to that common man in rural areas, this lockdown has to be obeyed. Now, there are a lot of challenges before the people as well, especially in rural areas. The awareness is not as much as it is obviously in urban areas. How do you reach out to them over the next 3 weeks? How do you ensure that all of them get food for the next 3 weeks? These are just the basic challenges. Mr. Modi also went on to talk about the economy. He said, we are ready to take the hit because right now priority is the safety of the people. Now, interestingly, just after his address to the nation, there were a lot of people who went into panic buying mode, after which Prime Minister Modi himself had to take to Twitter and say, don't go into that mode. Essential services are on. Food will get to you. Don't panic. Back to you.